Porsche has built many great cars, but surely the Type 956 has to be a prime candidate for the title of greatest of them all. From 1982 and through most of that decade, it was all but unbeatable in the World Sports Car Championship. At the heart of the 956 was a turbocharged 2.7-litre version of the famous Porsche Flat 6. There was no actual maximum capacity limit for the new Group C World Championship racing, but there was a limit to how much fuel a car could use in a race. Porsche engineers calculated that the 2.7-litre turbo would give the best combination of power and fuel consumption. From its earliest days, Porsche always placed a huge value on success in the Le Mans 24 Hours. By the time that the 956 appeared on the scene, the company's Le Mans Roll of Honour included numerous class wins and 6 outright victories. Those wins had come in an 11-year period, courtesy of 3 different cars: the 917, the 935 and the 936. Between 1982 and 1987, the 956 and the later 962 version would add 6 more. Most of those successes came with cars in the familiar blue and white livery of Rothmans cigarettes. The following coverage is from the 1987 race, the final victory in an incredible 6 in a row for the Rothmans team.
The lights go green and the 1987 Le Mans 24 Hours is on.
And straight away the 2 Rothmans Porsches take charge, Mass and Stuck blocking any ideas the 3 silk-cut Jaguars might have of leading. Stuck it is from Mass, Brundle, Cheever, Dumfries and Raffanel, Lammers and Jonathan Palmer in the Britton Lloyd Porsche. Behind comes Adam in the camera car, chasing the leading group through the S's at 130 miles per hour. Up to 220 miles per hour, but there's no overtaking here on the opening laps. The organisers worried about the wet. Porsche, Porsche, Jaguar, Jaguar and Mercedes. The telltale rooster tails of spray herald the approach of the leaders over the notorious hump, braking down to 75 miles per hour for Mulsanne corner. Into the tricky Porsche curves, where Cobb destroyed the 3rd Rothmans Porsche on Wednesday night. End of the first lap, and Mass has taken the lead from teammate Stuck, then Brundle for Jaguar in the sleek, low-line XJR8. These 3 have broken away already, and Dumfries is 4th from Cheever into the new Dunlop corner. Lap 2 on the Mulsanne, and once again the yellows go out on this still wet part of La Sarthe circuit. Stuck is back in front of Mass, Brundle still keeping them in sight. It looks dry here, but it's still slippery as Martin finds out. Mass and Stuck trade the lead yet again. The factory Porsches now pulling away.
By the end of the 24 Hours, the Porsche of Hans Stuck, Derek Bell and Al Holbert had pulled away to the extent that it won by no less than 20 laps. It was the final page in the story of the Porsche domination of Group C World Sports Car Championship racing. The 956 had been winning for 6 years, but it was coming under pressure from both Jaguar and Mercedes-Benz. There were also rule changes on the way, and Porsche couldn't see the sense of developing a new engine to compete in a class where they were simply expected to win come what may. They announced that there would be no factory Porsches in World Championship sports car racing for 1988. The 962 development of the 956 was, however, still the choice of the private teams in sports car racing on both sides of the Atlantic. This car had evolved from the 956 in 1985 when IMSA, the International Motorsports Association, set its own rules for what it called the GTP class of its Camel GT series. GTP stood for Grand Touring Prototype and was the premier class in American racing. Instead of a fuel efficiency formula, IMSA went for a combination of weights versus engine size to try and even out the competition between the various competing makes. IMSA also had some safety concerns about the 956 and mandated that GTP cars should have the driver's feet positioned behind an imaginary line drawn through the front wheel centres. They also insisted that all the cars had integral steel roll cages to protect the driver. The 956 didn't comply on either of these counts, but Porsche regarded the American market as being important enough to warrant these major changes to its specification. So was born the Porsche 962, which was eventually to race in both the Camel GT Series and the World Championship. At the heart of both cars was a turbocharged 2.7-litre version of the famous Porsche Flat 6, with its specification altered to suit whatever the series rules dictated. Originally, for example, the 956 had a single turbocharger, while the 962 had a pair. Unlike the 935 or 936, the new engine had twin overhead camshaft cylinder heads for each bank of cylinders. These employed separate camshafts to operate 2 inlet and 2 exhaust valves per cylinder. Although the cylinders were air-cooled in true Porsche fashion, the heads were water-cooled. Power output was originally 620 horsepower at 6,200 revs per minute, though IMSA teams using the twin-turbo 962 pushed this to over 720 for sprint races towards the end of the engine's development. On the faster tracks, like Le Mans or Daytona, the top speed of either car was over 220 miles an hour. As the 956 had dominated World Sports Car Championship racing through the mid-80s, so did the 962 dominate IMSA racing.